My name is Chris, this channel is called Vo-Gus Prospecting, and over the last 7 years I've been teaching people how to find gold wherever they are in the world. And today I'm on my home territory in Reedy Creek in Victoria, Australia. This beautiful creek is one of the richest alluvial gold streams in the southern hemisphere, even though Reedy Creek itself doesn't carry any lode deposits. The granite that makes up its bedrock doesn't actually contain very much, if any, gold at all. Reedy Creek is fed by multiple hard rock veins in mountains many kilometers away. And I'm lucky enough to call this rare type of alluvial stream deposit my playground. Literally no gold prospector knows where the gold is. We're always looking for it. And today I'm going to strap a GoPro to my head and take you through how I would prospect an area. So I'm going to run you through my thought process as we go. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a much more in-depth understanding about the meticulous way that you have to search to find a proper gold deposit. Well, we might as well run over some of the basic equipment I'm using today, and it couldn't be more simple. I've got a stuffer bottle, a pan, and a shovel. If you're new to prospecting, is a lot to consider when buying a gold pan, but the one thing you can take for certain is that they all work equally as well. They've got a little bit of nuance to them. Today I'm using an XP pan. They're a great affordable kit. I've also got the XP snuffer bottle. Rightio. The creek, look at this place, it's amazing. If you've seen any of my over 800 videos on YouTube, you will have seen this spot at one time or another. Now the reason I've come here today is because the water for the first time in 3 years has dropped. Now Australia's been going through a La Nina event, and that means high rainfall. Normally this creek would be up at least another 2 foot, and that means some of the spots like out here have been inaccessible now for quite a number of years. When it floods in Reedy Creek, we're getting flood debris all the way up there, good 20-30 feet above the creek base. So let's start reading this spot. We know that the floods are 20-30 feet above the creek bed. That means this obstruction here wouldn't even be a speed bump. In fact, it would increase the water velocity because there would be an underwater waterfall coming off the back of it. That's why all of this is scooped out so much. The bedrock here drops off extremely steeply. But we have got a few things that will make this possibly a little bit better. We can see that these trees here have been protected. Even though it's flooded for the last 3 years, these trees are still growing here. That means we've got lower velocity on this side, and that's indicative of this gravel here. We've got what I'm going to assume is a straight narrow channel, comes up over this hump. A lot of water gets deviated this way. In fact, the creek about doubles in width at that point, and that would mean that the water velocity on this edge isn't strong enough to knock those trees over, and therefore it's also strong enough to deposit this gravel here. You can literally see a beautiful line of gravel comes all the way here, and then right where my gear is, there's a mound of gravel. Now the mound of gravel and the way that it's laid in, this might be hard to see on camera, but you can see on the rocks in the water, half the rocks are clean and half the rocks have silt and algae and things like that on them. The clean side's the upstream side where the velocity's coming in, and the algae is on the downstream side where the velocity drops off. So the back side of any obstruction has lower velocity. We can use that to tell that this is a vortex. It vortexes in on itself. That's why this gravel's here. I'm not interested in the vortex because anything that gets caught in this vortex is going to be lighter than where the gold drops out. So gold is going to drop out in one of two places. Either up here, where the velocity first starts dropping off, or immediately after the vortex where the velocity picks up again, it'll be reconcentrating it. Now, for the sake of it, I may do some work up there later, but for now we're going to concentrate down here. I'm pretty sure the GoPro can see through the water. I hope it can, because it looks stunning. This bedrock drops off. There's a nice trench here, and we have all the cracks and crevices are actually in the same direction as the flow. If we watch these bubbles, they're going, you can see a nice line going this way. And those line up perfectly with the way that the bedrock is breaking up. So we know there's a lot of flow coming in here going that way. What I'm going to look for, I wish I had my Yabby pump with me today, but I don't. I reckon we're going to try some of these crevices to start with. Crevices are the really obvious things, so they usually get cleaned out by every prospector. but you never know. They are worth checking. So we're going to come away into the deeper water a little bit, and we're going to test with the shovel. You can hear like solid bedrock. There we go. We've got a little bit of gravel there. It's not compacted though. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not really feeling that's going to be a good spot, but we'll give it a shot. It's very loose. The gravel's very, very loose. You want a little bit of clay, a little bit of compaction. Clay and compaction are the things that really indicate that there could be gold there. That's a little bit better. A little bit. All right, we'll try that. Oh, I can see a little bit of black sand in it. All right, we need a place to wash this off. Somewhere I'm not going to dig. Down in this nice big deep crevice, I would suggest. Oop, knock my shovel over. Double knee crack for good luck. Now, I talked about this in my last POV video. Efficiency is everything when it comes to panning, especially when you're testing. Don't worry about trying to retain every single speck of gold, especially when you're prospecting. You're just looking for the best speck count you can get in a pan that doesn't take you a ridiculous amount of time. If you can get a pan done in under 2 minutes from the time you dig it, or let's say 3 minutes from the time you dig it to the time you suck your gold up, then you're doing pretty good. That's where you want to be. You'll lose about 5% of your gold on a bad day doing that kind of method. It's a lovely spider just here. Can you go that way and not on my leg? Thank you. The heavy mineral we're looking for in Reedy Creek is tin, sheds out of the granite. It's not actually associated with gold, but it is heavy. It's dense. It's got a density of 7, I believe. And that just means that it weighs 7 grams per cubic centimeter. So if I had a cubic centimeter of tin, it would weigh 7 grams. And that density is important because it's one of the heaviest things in the creek. Gold is most likely the heaviest thing in this creek. So if I can find lots of tin, there's a good chance that I'll find some gold nearby. So the more tin we get, the better. And we want a mixture of sizes. This is all, oh, it's a little bit of a mix. We've got some real coarse little chunky bits there. Can't gold. Yeah, okay. So this is what I would call a typical Reedy flood pan. Right there, I got maybe 10 to 15 tiny little specks. You can get that everywhere on Reedy Creek. That's not what we're after. It's cool. It's good to see that there's gold in the area, but it's not going to pay the bills. Like, it's not going to add up to anything significant at the end of the day. We can do better than that. We've got coarse tin, a little bit of coarse tin. So we're close. If you're not getting a mixer of tin, then you're not going to be getting good gold. I'll explain that in the future, but now we're going to look again. All right, so we've got a little bit from here. There's this really nice big boulder here, and there's like wicked drop off. And the gravel's trailed up, over, and then around, I reckon. Maybe around this rock. Big boulder. There's sort of a depression between this high bit of bedrock and there's another piece of bedrock under the water coming up. Maybe. Oh, it feels better on the shovel. Feels like there's some big rocks down there. Yes. Okay, so that's much better. That's what I want. First of all, we've got flash flood debris. This sort of stuff only settles in if you've had flash floods. So the thing is, if we had a continuous flood, this would all get washed away. And so it takes a pretty big jolt of water to shed leaves that are high up on the bank and concentrate them into the creek. But then if you have too much flow, that stuff gets washed away. So for them to settle, it means the water rose rapidly and then came down rapidly. Oh, and we got clay. See that? That's what we're after. That's a flash flood layer right there. So that leaf debris is key. If If you're getting leaf debris and it's sitting on top of clay, clay being silt, silt only drops out when the water is moving at something like under 1 centimeter a second, I believe it is, or 1 centimeter a minute. Very slow water rate. Oh, we're getting bubbles too, so that's decaying organics. Yep. All right, I'm gonna take this one to the shade because it is hot today. Those flash floods, you know, they might not be a big gold deposit, but they will give you some pretty decent gold if they're washing soil off the banks that contains a little bit. That's all prospecting is looking for concentrators. You're looking for where low-grade alluvial soils have been forced through a narrow area and have been allowed to collect. So you might have like 1 speck per cubic foot up on the bank there. And when a flash flood comes through, it might rip 30 cubic feet of soil off and concentrate it on the edge. And that reconcentration of gold is the deposit. That's what you're looking for. And so these flash flood layers can be rich even though they're not long-term deposits. Oh, a little bit of breeze, that's beautiful. It's going to be a hot summer, real hot summer. Not going to lie, not looking forward to it. You'll notice me stratifying a lot. Stratifying's me shaking the pan around. And that's because I am dealing with clay now. And what I'm trying to do is break the clay balls up. And you can tell when they're breaking up because the water turns cloudy. You don't need it to be perfectly clear when it's coming out of your pan, but the cloudier it is, the more silt there is. The more silt, the more likely it is to compact in your riffles. And when it compacts in your riffles, you lose the ability to create friction on the bed of your pan, and then gold skates out over the top of it. So you want to get rid of a fair amount of that silt before you commence panning down. And you'll find that if you keep stratifying and just removing big rocks by hand, more than half your dirt will disappear anyway before you even start washing the dirt off. You'll retain more gold because you're not washing anything out of the pan manually like this. You're just blowing the silt out. Reduces the volume. If you see me waving my head and my hands around, it's because there's about 1 million blowflies around me. Bastards. Not that much black sand. Surprising. And this is it. Prospecting is all about guesswork, right? Educated guesswork. Not every inside bend has gold. Not every crevice has gold. That's ever so slightly better. Oh, nah, it's probably a typical Reedy. That looks like a typical Reedy to me. There's not heaps of gold in there. There's enough to tell me that it's here somewhere. I just got to find where it's concentrated. That's the problem. Prospecting. There's too much dirt mixed with the gold. Okay. So, we know it's not there. What if it's reconcentrating through here? What if it is? Because we're getting a little bit of flood gold across this, right? And there might be some good crevices in here, but I'm just not interested in the crevices. I want where the soil's concentrating it. So we've got more velocity out there. More velocity. More velocity equals more erosion. More erosion equals more concentration. Well, there's bedrock here, look. That's bedrock. So we've got a line. So that's super interesting. The velocity changes in between these two. You've got this line of gravel coming in, which is clearly in high flood, it's pushing everything to this vortex. But there's this line of silt and it comes in directly behind this bit of bedrock. So my thought is, maybe in between them, is that bedrock or a boulder there? Bedrock or boulder? I think that's bedrock there, so we'll keep pushing across. I reckon right between these is where it's going to be. Maybe. Ooh, there we go. There we got a drop off. So why I'm saying right between them is that you got to remember that the velocity in this case was such that it allowed for the gravel to mound at its highest point in the center line of this stretch of gravel. that would indicate that the velocity gets faster either side of it. And then it immediately drops off to being extremely slow on this side because we've got a whole bunch of sand and silt. Or the bedrock around here was creating a lot of friction. Either way, between those two velocities, it's a good place to check. If I pulled up clay right now, I'd be real happy. I did not. A little bit of decayed bedrock. Oh no, there's plenty of clay in that. All right, maybe. Never say never, Chris. The other tip I can give everyone is to make sure that you pan away from where you're digging. Pick a spot that you don't intend on checking and only pan off there. Because the amount of times that I have accidentally put my tailings on top of the gold deposit and had to go back and reshift it all, it's very annoying. It's very European. Very European, not efficient. Now, something I noticed on the GoPro too was that when you're panning off, you can see a principle a lot of people don't understand. You're not moving the dirt around in your pan when you're shaking it. You're actually moving the pan around the dirt, and that's why your riffles work. A lot of people think that the riffles are going to prevent gold falling out of your pan when you do this, but they're not there for that. They're actually there to anchor the soil in your pan in one spot so that the bed load doesn't move, and if you're stratified properly, you can just wash the top soils, the top gravels off the mound of dirt in your pan like that. Because if you watch it, I'm moving my pan around the dirt's staying in the same position. And so people lose gold not because they wash it out over the top, they lose gold because the dirt's moving, or the pan's moving around the dirt, and they pull the pan back too fast and the gold on the bottom of the pan falls out. That's what the riffles are preventing. It's got nothing to do with the dirt that you're washing out over the top. Not much black sand in that. Interesting. No, that's another, here's what I would call another typical reedy pan. Not a huge amount, like, again, maybe 20, maybe slightly more. There's still hope. Like 20 specks, we are getting slightly more gold. The black sand's remaining the same though. I don't want all the same particle sizes of black sand. I want a mixture, because if I get chunky black sand and I get fine black sand together, it means the velocity of the water dropped off very suddenly, so it wasn't able to separate out the different sizes based off density. That's where the gold is. It's not where all the chunky black sand is, it's not where all the fine sand is, it's where it's mixed. Alright, so that was on the edge. What about in front of the drop-off? So we've got this bedrock here. We tried the edge of the gravel, but we also have a natural riffle here. Whoa, that's just sand there. Wow. What the hell? Oh, you never know. So many people say, oh no, don't worry about checking sand, but you know, there is a video up on my channel where we pulled 2.5 grams of gold out of nothing but sand. So on the banks of a river, there's a lot of clay in that. Oh, there is a lot of clay in that. Okay. Clay is super important because it's a false bottom. All a false bottom is something that creates enough friction, enough density, so that the gold can't sink through it. And clay is one of those materials. There are different types of clay, they all have different properties, but they also bring up one more really important thing when it comes to prospecting. Gold can't get through this because it's so thick. It creates so much friction it can't sink into it, right? Unless it was obviously a big nuggety bit. The little tiny flakes on Reedy Creek don't allow for that. The other thing that the clay creates is an electrostatic force, which affects gold. And that electrostatic force in high clay areas tends to trap gold on its surface, sort of the same as what a dry washer bed is. So normally I wouldn't break clay like this up because it would all be stuck on its surface, but it's very easy to break up this clay. I said if it was really hard clay I'd leave it, but this is not too bad. And that electrostatic force is something to consider when you're prospecting, right? Because if you're dealing with high electrostatic forces, it can rob you of gold when it comes to sluice boxes and pans alike. You want to make sure that if you can, you want to eject as much of that clay as possible. So whether you use a clay breaker on a high banker, or you use your hands like this to mush up loose sticky clay, or if you've got hard clay balls like I had in my last video, you just throw them out of your pan once you've got the loose gravel stuff off the top. There we go. And you can just see how silty that is. And that's the stuff that robs your gold, because your gold will stick to the clay. And it's not the stickiness of the clay that's stealing your gold, it's the electrostatic. One thing I suppose it's worth talking about when it comes to panning like this too is when I have a full pan of dirt, you'll see me swirling it around in circles like this. And then as I get closer to maybe half a pan's worth of dirt, I'll start shaking it side to side and front to back. So the circles, because there's so much dirt in my pan, just make the gold sink closer to the bottom, closer to the bed. And that's all I care about, because I've got so much dirt on top of it that I need to get rid of. Whereas the side to side concentrates the gold in a line, and then the front and back pushes that line to the front riffles. And I'll never, as far as I can avoid it, take dirt off the back edge of my pile. So if I've tilted my pan forward, I'm going to wash off. I'll never take dirt from this leading edge, because that's where your gold will be after swirling it around like that. You always see me come in and take dirt to about here, and then the dirt will slump forward, but I don't take it off the back. Oh, these bastard flies. Not much black sand. And don't stress about things like specimens and whatnot. Reedy Creek, they tend to, if you do have a specimen or something, you will see it usually. There's not very many nuggets of any size out here. See, again, not that much black sand. I really thought that clay would have it, but apparently not. Well, we don't know yet. Ooh, we've got a lot of flour gold in there. That's a heap of flour gold, actually. Oh, that's better. Yeah. We got maybe a bit more than double the specs in that pan. That's all right, that. All right. Okay. So it's fine, but it's there. The gold particle sizes is matching the black sand particle sizes, which is interesting. It's normally what happens, right? Superfine gold tends to collect with the superfine black sand. Big nuggety bits or big nuggets tend to collect with the big chunky black sand, and the mix is where everything is. And there's still there's a few specks scattered in that black sand there. Okay. So there was gold there. That's interesting. Now we have questions to answer, right? The velocity of water drops off at 2 points. It drops off after obstructions, like after the bedrock, and it drops off leading up to the bedrock. So if we've got gold there, why don't we come back and dig in the pile until we either hit bedrock or clay? Let's just try that. Okay. Oh, that's bedrock right there. It's very shallow. It's a bit sandy. It's a bit sandy. I'm not feeling that at all. Almost a crystal, but I am not feeling that. Anyway, there's no point guessing. It's all about just doing it. You can't guess. Any prospector that tells you they know where the gold is lying. Like, no one knows where it truly is. You'll have spots that you know are usually good. You'll have areas that maybe you haven't finished working, but prospecting, not mining, is all about searching. And so prospectors worth their salt won't say they know where the gold is. They'll tell you they know how to find it. And so what I'm trying to show today is that it's a lot of tedious work and you can't get discouraged, right? You got to know what's good in your area. Build up a knowledge base, keep prospecting, keep panning, keep looking, and keep track of the kind of gold, the kind of heavies that come out in your pans on the good days and the bad, so that when you come out, you know, I've shown people gold like I've been getting in these areas, 10 specks, and they lose their minds. They think it's fantastic. But I know on Reedy Creek you can get 1,000 spec pans. And so knowing that I can walk away from those spots because there is better gold out there, there are better deposits, is worth my time. It's a much more intelligent thing to do than committing to a low grade spot, because yeah, sure, maybe it takes me 2 days to prospect an area to find the one little spot that's got 1,000 specks a pan or 100 specks a pan, and someone might have 2 days of shoveling stuff like this and get a couple of grams, but I could get a couple of grams in, you know, 3 or 4 pans in the right spot here. And so knowing when to walk away from low grade stuff and keep looking is really important. Nah, that's got hardly anything. There is like a couple little pieces of flour gold in there, and that's it. So I'm going with, it's definitely not before like I assumed. It's not before, so it's got to be after. Right, it's got to be after. So it's not here. Maybe it's in this gap here. Where does it drop? Where does it drop? That feels alright. That's hard packed. That's after the shelf. And it's not shallow. Oh, I can feel the clay on my shovel. just the tip. Ooh. Sink straight down into it. Ugh. All right. Oh, the hay fever is pretty unreal today too. Welcome to spring in Australia, where everything tries to bite you, and if it doesn't try to bite you, it tries to impregnate you with its pollen. Damn wattles. That's what it is. I still think we'll get a reasonable take for today, even just poking around like this. Reedy is one of those great things, well, one of those great creeks, because it is so rich, and it's got such a rich gold history that even your crap pans aren't terrible. Ten specks a pan on Reedy Creek with a high banker is about 1 gram every 4 hours if you got the volume of soil, which isn't terrible by today's standards considering the gold price is over $100 a gram, but nah, barely any black sand again. See one little flake in there. Nah, average Reedy pan, about 10 little flakies. All right, we're gonna do better than that. I know we are. It's gonna be around here. We're gonna shift spots. Keep looking, I suggest. So this is all indicative of flood gold. There's no hardcore long-term deposit in this area. That's all right. Let's get closer to the high velocity water. See how far I can get out here with my gumboots, eh? Ah, flood debris in behind here. And there's a bedrock shelf just here. That's interesting. All right. Is there a place I can put my pan? Drop my shovel. Look at that. Looks like it was built for it. I'll have to put this somewhere else. That's okay. It can go in my pocket. Hopefully it doesn't fall out. Right. That boulder field would be good, but I'm wearing gumboots today, and I honestly don't particularly want to get my feet terribly soft and wet, full of leach poo water. I say poo water because Reedy Creek connects directly onto the Beachworth sewage farm, which is, you know, putting treated water back in, but it's still sewage water. That's all real shallow. Okay, so there's no clay there. About here. There's a lot of boulders. Alright, maybe. Let's see what comes up on the shovel. If it's just loose sandy crap, then probably not, but... Oh no. No, there's some really nice silt in that. Yeah. Maybe. Maybe. So what gave this away is I've got a bedrock shelf right at the start of that gravel bar. Now we got gold down there. That means gold has to be traveling through this section. And we have this interesting bedrock shelf cutting across, which might be why this is here. And on this edge, we've got some slightly higher velocity because the gravel's been eroded from this area, right? So we know that there's higher velocity here. We can even see it in the bubbles coming down the stream. And just on the edge of that shelf and that fast water are these boulders. And these little boulders under the water here. Oh, that's... Well, it's not looking terrible, so... Uh-oh. Yeah. Rescued it. If we pan off on top of this, then we can create a little gravel bar. The great thing about stratification, you don't need a sieve, you just shake your pan around like that, and all your big rocks come to the top. What do you reckon? Gold? I don't know. Like, it seemed, the theory seems right, but theories don't mean shit. Proof is always in your blue circle. Always. Oh, look at that black sand though. That's coarse. That's really coarse. All right, coarse black sand, higher velocity water, usually. Ah, there's a lot of it in there. So if there's flakes, they should be bigger. Usually you'll get bigger flakes with bigger black sand. All right. Oh, there's a fair bit of it in there compared to what we have been getting. Look at that. See, it's all coarse though. For Reedy Creek, that's coarse tin. I'm not seeing any gold. So the water velocity may have been faster than what the gold will settle out at. Shotgun pellet, so heavy things are accumulating here. Lead is about half the density of gold. If we're in a nuggety area, that'd be great, but we're not. Come on, gold, gold, gold. Just a little bit, man, only a little bit. We're close though. We're real close. We've only got like, it's a typical Reedy pan. It's actually probably slightly less. The velocity of water there, I'm going to argue, is slightly too high, but we're close. We're real close to actually seeing some decent gold, I'd say. Yeah, barely any gold. All right, Good black sand. Good black sand. That's what we want. How far out here can I get before I fill my gumboots with water? Poo water. I want to try down in this deep section, right? Like, oh, I should have bought my sweatpants so I can get down deep. Anyway. Big black sand's got me hopeful. It's got me hopeful. I reckon it's there. I reckon it's right there. That makes more sense actually. Because we've got the leaves that I was talking about. We've got flow of water. We've got big rocks. We've got silt. We've got everything there. And this is just sand. So I'll quickly wash this off. But I don't think we're going to see anything out of this. My guess is that we're just not quite in the right spot. That's all right. Prospecting. Yeah. Too sandy. Wasn't on the bottom. No clay. Nothing to stop the gold from sinking down. High velocity water. So we can be a bit rougher with this pan. See that? Absolutely. That's the difference though. How much black sand we got there to how much we got there, and there's 1.5 meters difference in distance. And we got one tiny little nano just there. You can go back to grow. Right. How deep? How deep are you really? Ooh, we are on the limit. Got a convenient rock here though, so that's good. Ah, bastard flies. Okay. Is that bedrock? Certainly feels like bedrock. Very sandy material. Alright. That's all bedrock. Bedrock, 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 bedrock. And it's just here. It's just here in behind this that I've got some kind of gravel and give. If there's gold in this, I'll be very surprised. Not seeing any black sand. It'd be a lot rougher when you got loose gravel like that. You can just pan down super fast, because if there is anything in it, it'll be on the bottom almost instantly. I can see one little flake. Yeah, a couple little pieces of black sand there. Wild gadsy up there.
So he hasn't been caught by the wild cannibal tribe?
Ah, actually, there is some okay flakes in that. Alright.
So you've not been eaten by cannibals?
No, no cannibals, mate.
No cannibals?
No cannibals.
Oh. You're harder to find than gold.
You found me, so I failed. Alright, so I think I might be right. We got a big flake of gold and a whole bunch of nano, and we're in an area that has very little black sand. So you want the highest ratio of gold to black sand that you can possibly get. Let's try this edge. God, there's gotta be a little bit of gravel down here somewhere. Oh, it's just not. It's all just sand. There's these really nice big pieces of bouldery bedrock just here though. Ooh, and gravel. Okay. All right, I'll take that. Ah, oh, we found gravel. Hey, it's the small things in life. All right, so we got gravel. And we got clay. No, but we have got someone's bag strap. This is looking way more promising. Okay, all right, that's good. We've got the leaf debris from a flash flood. We've got clay indicating that silt has been allowed to drop out and accumulate over a long period of time, and we've got gravel on top of it. This is the mix I was talking about. It's when you get a mix, it's when you get a mix of everything that you usually see gold. Usually. I've got my fingers crossed for this one. See a little bit of black sand in there. Come on. There's gotta be something in there, right? And this is just part of prospecting, is that I'm taking a tiny little dish of dirt out from an area like this, and you're looking for a deposit that might only be, you know, a foot or two wide, or might only be in one crevice. It's just persistence. If you're not persistent, you won't find it. Well, I see a fair amount of flower gold on one edge there. I mean, it'd be nice to get some flakes, but I'd settle for like 100 pan of flower gold. Yeah, that's a little bit better. We've got a mix of black sand and better speck sizes. That's probably the better speck sizes that I've seen today. They're not huge. I mean, Reedy, we can get a lot bigger than that, but we're getting there. We're hunting it down. We know where it's traversing. We know that it's traversing around this bend, and then it's dissipating like in a wide pay streak across there. How did you go in your sweatpants?
Yeah, so.
So?
I thought I had a pocket, but the pocket just turned to nothing.
Yeah, like instantly?
Yeah, instantly.
I'm hunting it. We're hunting. We're hunting. Gold hunting. It's like Aussie gold hunters, but better. Huh? What's that? Yeah. I don't know. Bag strap? Bra strap. Bra strap. Yeah. I wonder if there's... Oh, okay. So we've got a really big drop off directly in front of where I just took that pan. So the deeper you get into the creek, the lower the velocity of the water. There's more weight. Water doesn't compress, so you just get this extra dense layer of laminar flow on the base of a creek. And if I just pulled up a shovel with a piece of tourmaline sitting on top of it like that, then there is a good chance there's going to be gold mixed in with it. Put the tourmaline over there. Get rid of our boulder. Bloop. And we've got some silt. No clay. Let's try another one. Oh, I just filled my gumboot up. Oh, that's refreshing. The one thing I was trying to avoid. Come on. I'm going to wiggle it right down into it. Ah, come on. Ooh, that is deep. Like that's my whole shovel underneath the water. Oh, clay, flood debris. Let's try that. That's old. That's old. Old. All right. That's good. It's a thick layer of flood debris. And it's a mix with gravel and that silt. Again, the last pan we did was pretty good compared to what we have been getting in those spots over there. So with some luck, this will be the pan that shows me either the same result, in which case I know to move on because I know there's better on Reedy, or it gets better. If it gets better, I know it's in the deeper section and I'll come back here when the water drops. Oh yeah, okay, we've got some coarse black sand. Yeah, freaking heaps of coarse black sand actually. Well, not heaps, but for today, heaps. Yeah, another piece of tourmaline. So the heavies are definitely dropping out there. But if the velocity is still too high, then we're not going to get gold. That's a big piece of tin just there. Real big piece of tin. Look at that. Alright. Oh yeah. Yeah, there we go. That's the first proper pan. Ah, finally. Look at that. There'd be 50 plus a couple of nice sized pieces. So we now know that the gold is sitting right on the drop off there. So it's coming around this bend and then directly in line with that gravel mound. Like I said, the gravel mound is never a good place to check because the velocity's dropped off too much. The gold always drops out before it. So we've come back and it's sitting just off the edge of that shelf. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
It's all right. Oh, first good pan of the day and Gadsy rocks up. Yay! Good luck charm, Gadsy. Gotta love that. See if we can replicate that result. We'll go in for another scoop. All right, these pieces of tourmaline are coming home with me. So my new website, the Old Moldy, I'm selling rings and jewelry and dog portraits and whatnot, and these will be going into some of those things. If you are interested, there are links in the description below. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's see if we can get another one of those, because that was cool. All right, so I would hazard a guess there probably is gold under this too, but it is going to be deeper, like much deeper than I'm willing to try and dig today. See if we can get into that flood layer. Look how deep that is. Gadsy's got the right idea up there in those reeds. Anytime there's rushes on the side of the creek, they work just like miner's moss, the root systems. And so you can collect a lot of flood gold in them. Yeah, more of that real good stuff. Very nice. Oh, I wonder what's on the bedrock down here, because I'm not even touching the bedrock. I'm not even really touching a clay layer. The last pan had a little bit of silt in it from the floods, but it didn't have any clay. See, that was all gravel. Look at those fun rocks. Get out of my nose, fly. Shoo fly, don't bother me. If we get another one of those really good pans, we'll move on, because then we'll know where it is, and I just can't work it today. There's no point staying here. We're prospecting, not mining, not set up for mining. I'm better off moving on and, you know, finding more spots that I can come and mine all at once, so I can spend a week or two actually processing dirt. Not as much black sand in this one. So maybe it's all sitting on top of that flood layer. Oh no, I take that back. There's actually a fair bit in there. Or if we'll get some more tourmaline or anything, that'd be good. Alright, yeah, nowhere near as much black sand in that one, so I'm guessing it's all sitting right on top of that flood layer. So there's probably going to be multiple layers stacked on top of each other, separated by, you know, silt, clay, gravel, stuff that doesn't contain too much gold. That's a small piece of tourmaline just there. Oh, we still got good gold. Yeah, we still got real decent gold. There's another 50 plus specks in there. That's fantastic. All right, well, the gold's consistent. That means that I know where to come back to when the river drops that little bit more. Interesting. All right, it's been, I think, about an hour worth of looking, and I could obviously do a lot more, and I intend on doing a lot more, but I'm just going to empty this out and show you guys what I got for my session. I'll actually go over to where my other camera is so you can see the specs. This is what prospecting really looks like. This is the methods that we use to find the deposits. You know, it's not all gravy when you see my channel with 800 videos where you pull out, you know, grams and big chunky nuggets and lots of flour gold and stuff. This is what precedes it. And that's it. That's what I got over the last, you know, hour or so, probably a little bit under. And you can see there is a reasonable amount of fine flour gold all through that black sand. A lot of this gold, black sand, tourmaline, all those will be put into pieces of jewelry up on the old moldy. So please go check out the Instagram page and the website when you get a chance. But that was a relatively successful little prospecting trip. We definitely identified one spot worth digging up. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please let me know in the comments below what you would like to see done next with the first person view, so that I can add more education to this channel and help prospectors right across the world find more gold.